classic. Bjork has a very holy shit. It's fucking hard to sing with that much breath on those notes. Kia ora, my name's Zoe Stevie and I'm your vocal coach for today. I feel like I have to take a bit deep breath. We're going to take a look. We're going to try and do our best at analyzing the vocal technique of ROSALÍA with Berghain. Berghain? I'm so sorry, I just butchered that word. Never heard the song in my life. I've just seen a couple of shorts online and like she goes from like classical sounds and like super high to like pop, and Bjork's in the mix. Oh my God. We'll take a deep breath. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what is she up to with her vocal technique. How is she creating these magical sounds that we know ROSALÍA can make? And how can you make those sounds? I'm going to do my best. The challenge is on. I've been a vocal coach for 18 years and I teach people to sing every single day. And I know that ROSALÍA is the most absolutely incredible singer. If you want more help with your vocal technique though, check that subscribe button. Well, click that subscribe button. Sorry, I'm like way out of it. Click that subscribe button. I would love to see you around here more often because so many of you aren't subscribed to the channel and it really does help me to help more people like yourself with their singing. So let's just go for it. Holy shit. Okay, so obviously ROSALÍA is not a opera singer, okay? And again, not poo-pooing her in any way, shape or form, but we're hearing kind of the vocal folds are touching and then not touching again. But we're going to talk about how is she creating the sound. This is a head voice sound. We've got a rounded vowel. So go, now, classical singing is often with a little bit of twang, and that is a tensing of the or a closing of the area above the larynx. So let's just watch that again, because I want you to watch this facial expression. I think she is the most amazing artist and I need to honestly listen to more of her music. But this is a really classic mistake that singers make when they're singing more classical. And this is obviously she's trying to create a classical sound, right? Very classic mistake that singers make when they're singing really high up in the range. And she's got quite a flat tongue. So we're going, actually, it's very hard to do because you don't want to flatten your tongue when you're singing high in head voice. Almost get this impression that she's trying really hard to like relax and open the mouth. Now, that can help to an extent, but we need to lift the soft palate. So the soft palate is the doorway to the nose. Let's just watch that again. And she went higher in the range and we noticed that the tongue went down slightly at the back. That's what it needs to do. As we go higher up in the range, the larynx needs to distend to stop us from choking. So the back of the tongue will dip down, but we need the midsection of the tongue now, just so you can say around that section of the tongue needs to be relatively high in the mouth though in order to help us to boost those frequencies. It's about increasing pharyngeal space, which is the area here at the back of the mouth, and not about just opening up the mouth. That's what I was talking about, the really classic mistake. Again, crack myself up. That classic mistake that people make when they're trying to sing really high and kind of making this classical sound. Love these wide wide open gestures. What she's doing there is using the larger muscles of the back and almost the pecs as well in order to help to hold out the ribs in order to stabilize those breathing muscles and to stabilize these smaller muscles here inside the throat. You hear those with this kind of woofy kind of sound going on there. We're hearing as well, like it's a little bit of a thin, higher. I feel like I'm shitting all over ROSALÍA right here. Sorry, classically trained soprano right here. And I love looking at sopranos. But what I want to point out is that honestly, it doesn't really care. She's created her own sound within her own album, and like no one gives a shit. She's not trying to be a classical singer. But I want to point out that if you're working on your upper register, we're hearing a lot of that air come in, and that's going to immediately take all of the volume out of the sound. So if you're singing in the head voice and you're trying to get a louder sound, we want to take away the air, people. Did you see those? She's got this short, sharp, high breaths. Now, I know I talk about it so much. There are so many different ways to breathe, people. So many different ways to breathe for singing. We need to learn them all so that we can make the decision like with our own singing and practice it in there. But in classical singing, we do not want to breathe short, sharp, and high. We want to breathe low because we need a slightly descended larynx in order to get that like really typical classical sound. So what's happening there is we're hearing those puffs of air come through, and that's probably because there is a little bit too much pressure being built up here at the top of the lungs due to those short, sharp, high breaths. We would want to do something like maybe a bit of a restricted in-breath, focusing on filling the lower part of the lungs. Now, that being said, that's not how we want to breathe. This is like the perfect breathing for contemporary music technique. Short, sharp, and high. We don't need a shitload of breath control there. She's just such a fabulous singer. So we're hearing this sort of very breathy, thin vocal fold sound, but we're getting a bit of vibrato coming in here as well. And that's brought on by the thyroid tilt. Now, thyroid tilt is here where the larynx, or the top part of the larynx where the vocal folds live. And when that tilts forward, that helps to elongate the vocal folds, and it also helps us to sweeten the sound. The sweetening of the sound doesn't cause the vibrato, but the thyroid tilt is what helps to bring on the vibrato. But there are a bunch of different types of vibrati, and that just kind of needs to be looked at, like in terms of a stylistic approach to singing. So if vibrato is your aim and you're like, fuck it, Zoe, I've got absolutely no idea how to create vibrato, it needs to be looked at on a one-to-one basis. So you can apply for singing lessons down in the description below. Honestly, I can help anyone get vibrato. I promise you, I can fucking help you get vibrato. It's hard, yeah, if you can't do it already, but we can get you there. I don't speak Spanish, yeah? So we've seen though a definite wobble here within the larynx. Now, vibrato does not necessarily have to come from the movement of the larynx itself, but it can. I don't know what I'm doing with this pen. It can come. There's one way of creating vibrato is actually to wiggle the larynx itself. Doesn't have to be though, okay? But we're getting we're getting this definite, like, it's quite, don't want to say big, but it's like, you know, we're seeing it. also seeing the jaw moving there. Now, that's not to say that it could also come from a little bit of nerve. She's standing on this wonderful big stage. So we can't really say why the jaw is moving, but it could be a knock-on effect from that, you know, the movement of the larynx there. Confused. I'm not sure that the people on stage are the ones actually singing in that chorus, because you're seeing a lot of young people there, and I'm definitely hearing some very professional chorus singers or choir singers in that sound. And I don't know where their microphones are. So yeah, there's definitely some people singing backstage, and that's what we're hearing in the mix. Maybe those singers on stage are, you know, what we're hearing, you know, what they would be hearing in that live context. So we're seeing got that thyroid tilt going on, and that level of breath is literally just due to the fact that the vocal folds are a little bit open there. It's not about pushing a whole bunch of breath out. It's about keeping the volume low so that there doesn't need to be that push of the breath. But you can see there's like no extra blah, 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 or anything going on. She's keeping it cool, calm, and collected. We've just got these really lovely short, sharp, high breaths, which is what we need for this style of singing.
The only way to save us is through divine intervention. The only way I will be saved, divine intervention.
Okay, Bjork has a very, I want to say this in like, honestly, you know me, okay? You know me. I'm never going to say, I love all singers equally. I want to say this in a way that is not going to be misunderstood. She has a fantastic voice, okay? I love her sound. But it also has to be said that she has a very unique sound. We listen to it and we go like, that's Bjork, right? So what I'm going to say now is not making fun of her in any way, shape or form. It's just kind of the way that she's sort of, I would say she's creating the sound. I'm not even sure if she's the type of singer that would actively think about her sound in this way. I think what she's doing there is, I think it's a lot of falsetto. Da, 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 da. I think it is an increase, like quite a lot of pushed sound, a lowered larynx going on there. Because we've seen this, I'm curious how she's able to sing for such a long period of time on the sound. Because she's had a very long career. Did you hear that? Be saved. That's fucking hard to sing with that much breath on those notes, but she did it. Saved. Almost like dropping the soft palate to make the sound a little bit more nasally. I mean, this is really like a masterclass in its own to like just look at Bjork sounding like ROSALÍA in one performance. I mean, like how much fucking time how much battery do I have on this audio thing? So we noticed that the mouth went up to be saved. And I think that sort of like dampening of the sound is that soft palate coming down.
Be saved, divine intervention.
Oh, you till you love me. Oh, you till you love me. Oh, you till you love me. 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 Love me. Till you love me. Oh, till you love me. Oh, till you love me.
Okay, so I just have to stop there. I don't actually know how long the song is. I've never heard it before, like most of the things that I look at here on the channel, but I just have to pause it there. Otherwise, honestly, this video will be, I'll get a copyright strike. I just wanted to also say, though, that I do... This performance is something that I feel like I have to watch a couple of times in order to really fully appreciate. There's a lot going on. Maybe it was different when you're there in person as opposed to watching it like this. I use Bjork in most of my singing lessons as being a really great example of like what is good singing. And, you know, I think a lot of people, you either listen to Bjork and you're like, wow, she's amazing. Or you listen to Bjork and you go like, no, it's not my thing. And that's kind of what that is what I want for all of my singers inside the Vocal Academy. I want them to feel like they can create their sound, and it's not about going like good sound, bad sound. It's like, what are you actually trying to achieve? What is the sound that you want to make? And I think ROSALÍA is another really great example of this. Like, what type of music do you want to create? What do you like? And other people will end up finding your music. It's not always about just singing to please other people and creating the sounds that you think other people are going to like. Think about what you want as an artist, and we will help you actually create that. Shouldn't be the other way around. Unless you're, and I think that's even, so, you know, I was just thinking maybe in like classical singing, like musical theater stuff. I think it's actually the same in that as well. I think it's about conforming to a certain standard of sound when it comes to like more prescriptive styles like classical or musical theater singing. But like for most contemporary singing, like pop, for example, like fucking the world's your oyster, sing whatever you want. Oh, cool. Okay. Again, not a hell of a lot of singing. I mean, I said again, because I was just looking at the Harry Styles performance, not a hell of a lot of singing going on, but that doesn't, you know, doesn't really matter too much. I like the way in which she's kind of just made, you know, she's done her own thing and like mixing classical and then contemporary styles. I think that's really fantastic. One kind of takeaway I want you to notice though is that those breathing style, well, that one breathing style didn't really work for that first. I mean, it did if, you know, but in terms of like an actual classical sound, it didn't. We want to make sure that our breathing is being adjusted for the sound that we're trying to create. And that's not just within, you know, just within classical singing or like just within, you know, between two sorts of genres. That's also within each of the genres we're wanting to breathe in different kind of ways. And that really needs to be looked at like on an individual basis. So that's what we do inside the Vocal Academy. We actually train you in the breath to show you like, oh, okay, and this song would be good if you breathe in that way, because that's going to help you to create that sort of sound. It's, you know, the stuff can be learned, and it can be learned in a step-by-step way. And we'll show you how to practice it and what to practice. And specifically like with your own personal songs in mind, whether you write your own music or not. So you can apply for singing lessons down in the description below. I'd love to help you to find your unique voice, and especially your way of breathing for that music. I have not had a look at ROSALÍA before on the channel, so I'm going to pop something up here for you to continue watching, something really similar in terms of the vocal quality to keep on learning. And just remember, anyone can learn to sing. This is an instrument. It's got a whole bunch of muscles. I'd love to help you. You're amazing. Just, you need to know that. And I'll see you around here next time. Happy singing. Ka kite anō.